Stop before you scroll, before you check the time, before the first thought of everything waiting for you today arrives and takes over. I need you to stay exactly where you are. Not because something is wrong, because something is right. Right in a way that does not happen often. Right the way a letter, hand-delivered to the exact address at the exact moment it was needed, is right. The timing is specific, and the timing is now. Chosen one, the fact that you are here, right now, before anything else has touched this morning, is not random. I do not say that lightly. There is a reason this message exists, and there is a reason it found you in this particular window before the world began its claim on you today. And I want to show you what that reason is. But first, I want to tell you what is waiting for you if you stay with me all the way through today. By the time we reach the end, you are going to understand something about your mornings that almost no one has ever told you. Something that explains why the connection you are searching for keeps slipping away before you can hold it. You are going to receive something specific about who you are and why you were built to receive in ways that other people simply are not. And there is a tool I am going to share with you, something a neuroscientist spent 34 years developing that I believe has been waiting to reach the right hands. Those hands may be yours. Stay with me. This will be worth every minute. Now, here is what I need you to understand about where you are sitting right now. The 3 to 7 minutes after you wake up, this window, the one you are in right now, are the most spiritually open, most scientifically confirmed, most divinely accessible moments of your entire day. Not your prayer time, not your quiet evenings. This window, right now, before the world begins. The ancient wisdom keepers knew this. The prophets structured their lives around it, and neuroscience has now measured it in ways that cannot be argued with. In the minutes after waking, your brain operates at a boundary between two states, a slow, open, deeply receptive frequency that does not return until the following morning. In this state, deep impressions land differently. Signals come through more clearly. What is meant for you can actually reach you in a way that the noise of the rest of the day makes almost impossible. Imagine a door that is only open at dawn, not metaphorically, literally. A door that swings wide every morning in the first few minutes after your eyes open, and then slowly closes. And once it is closed, it stays closed until tomorrow. That door is open right now, and you are standing in front of it. This is not a coincidence, because chosen ones do not stumble into the things they need. They are guided to them. At exactly the moment the message can land. The part of you that knows things before you consciously know them brought you here this morning, to this message, in this window. And I think somewhere inside you, you already feel that. Now let me show you why this matters more than you have been told. The wisdom figures who walked in unusual clarity throughout history were not secretive about this. David wrote in Psalm, 5 inches the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly, not in the evening, not at noon, the morning. Elijah, one of the most spiritually attuned figures in the ancient record, did not hear the voice of God in the earthquake. He did not hear it in the fire. He heard it in the stillness, the quiet, the small voice that could only be received when the noise had passed. These were not coincidences. These were not poetic details. They were descriptions of something real, something these figures had discovered about when the signal comes through most clearly. And that something has a name now that science has caught up to what the ancient world already knew. There are 5 signs I want you to check right now. 5 things that tell me you are a chosen one who has been inside this morning window and not fully realized what you were holding. The first sign is this: you have mornings that feel heavier than they should. You wake up, and before anything has happened, before any news has arrived, there is already a weight. Not sadness, exactly. Not anxiety, exactly. Just heaviness, like the day is already behind you before it has started. If you have felt that, stay with me. The second sign is that the connection you feel toward something larger tends to be clearest, right when you wake up, in that first breath, and then fades almost immediately, the moment you engage with the outside world. Like you almost had it, and then it was gone. The third sign is that you spend most of your days in react mode rather than receive mode. Someone else's emergency becomes your emergency. Someone else's timeline becomes your pressure. By the end of the day, you realize you were responding to everything and initiating almost nothing. The fourth sign is this: you have had flashes, moments of clarity, of knowing, of sudden direction that have come in the quiet, in the shower, in the car before you turned the music on, in the seconds just after you woke up, and when those moments came, they felt more real than anything you had been working hard to figure out, but you could not hold on to them. They slipped through. And the fifth sign, this is the one that matters most, is that you go to sleep most nights with a quiet feeling that you have not yet received what this day was supposed to give you. Not failure, not disaster. Just a gentle, aching sense of incompletion, like a letter arrived but was not fully opened. Chosen one. That is not exhaustion. That is not just life. That is a signal, and it has a source, and that source has something to say about what has been happening to your mornings. Let me show you now. There is something that happened to you around the age of 7. You did not cause it. No one warned you about it, and no one has explained it to you in a way that fully made sense until now. When you were very young, you knew things in a way that was different from how adults seem to know things. You learned fast. Ideas came easily. You could sit with something, a song, a story, a feeling, and be completely, naturally absorbed in it without effort. There was a directness between you and something larger, a connection that did not require you to work for it. You just had it. Do you remember that? That was not imagination. That was not childhood innocence that you were supposed to outgrow. That was your brain operating at its most activated state, what neuroscientists call gamma frequency. And the researchers who have studied this across MIT, Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, Columbia, have documented something that they call the decline effect. Beginning around age 7, gamma activity in the brain begins to decrease. Gradually, over years, the frequency that was once your natural operating state, the one tied to deep intuition, rapid learning, creative flow, and what ancient traditions called divine reception, starts to quiet down. The education systems we move through, the environments we are placed in, the constant low-grade stimulation of modern life, all of it is optimized for a different brainwave state, one that is reactive, task-oriented, good at responding, not good at receiving. This is not a moral failure. This is not a spiritual deficiency. This is biology, responding to the environment it was put in. But here is what the research also shows, and this is the part that almost never gets talked about. The morning window, those 3 to 7 minutes after waking, is the one time each day when gamma naturally attempts to resurface. It is a daily opening, a physiological reset. The brain, coming out of deep sleep, passes through that receptive state again, briefly, as it transitions back to waking consciousness, and then the phone lights up. I want you to think about what actually happens in that moment. You reach for the screen. A notification, a headline, a message, and in less than 30 seconds, the brain is pulled out of the gamma window and into full reactive mode. The door swings closed, the signal gets cut, the frequency that was just beginning to return gone. Until tomorrow morning, if you are lucky enough to catch it then. This is not an accident. The systems that profit most from your attention, that are built to capture the first moments of your day before you have had a single thought of your own, are not designed by people who do not understand what they are doing. They understand it very well. They understand that the most receptive, most impressionable, most open version of you exists for a narrow window each morning, and they have built entire industries around getting to you first. I am not here to make you angry about that. I am here to tell you that you do not have to give them that window anymore. Now, I want to share something with you. and I want to frame it carefully, because I believe it deserves careful framing. For most of recorded history, the people who found ways to sustain gamma activity, to keep that divine reception channel open beyond the morning window, did so through decades of dedicated practice, deep meditation, years of contemplative discipline, or, in modern clinical settings, through biofeedback therapy, neurofeedback machines that cost upwards of $7,000 for home use. Sessions with practitioners that run $300 an hour or more. These are not accessible options for most people, and the research suggesting they work has been largely confined to academic circles and expensive clinical programs, not because the findings are weak, but because there is very little financial incentive to make them widely available to people who cannot afford the premium. A neuroscientist named Dr. Robert Lake spent 34 years studying one question: not how to sell a product, not how to build a brand. One question: is there a way to use sound to guide the brain back to gamma frequency, specifically in the morning window, when it is already trying to return, without requiring years of meditation or thousands of dollars of equipment? Drawing from research across MIT, Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, and Berkeley, he developed a technology called brain entrainment. The principle is not complicated. Certain precisely calibrated sound frequencies, when heard through headphones, gently guide the brain toward the target brainwave state. The brain follows the signal. The gamma window, instead of closing after a few minutes, is held open, sustained, given time to do what it was trying to do. He compressed that technology into a 7-minute audio track. You sit, you put on headphones, you close your eyes and listen. That is all. No meditation technique to learn, no mantra, no special posture, no waking up at 4 in the morning to earn it. 7 minutes, and it begins working from the very first listen. The track is called The Genius Song. Now, I said I want to frame this carefully, so here is the honest framing. If you were to work with a biofeedback therapist to access this kind of gamma activation, you would spend $300 per session. A quality home neurofeedback machine runs close to $7,000. Even traditional meditation, which does work, over time requires months of consistent daily practice that the research shows most people cannot sustain in their current lives. The standard price for The Genius Song is $49, less than a single therapy session. And because Dr. Lake has always believed this technology should reach the people who genuinely need it, not just those who can afford the clinical alternatives, the price for those who come through this specific message is $39. That price does not exist on Amazon. It does not exist anywhere else. It is only available through the link I have placed in the description and the pinned comment of this message. For $39, you receive the 7-minute track. You also receive 4 bonuses at no additional cost. The first is Genius Child, an audio track designed to activate focused, confident brainwave states in children. The second is a classic book, the original text that the film The Secret drew its inspiration from, available on Amazon for $20, included here free. The third is a guided visualization that walks you through the 4 areas of your life where you want to receive most finances, relationships, health, and peace of mind. And the fourth is an infographic of the 5 most important daily habits that research consistently connects to the kind of life chosen ones are being prepared for, something worth printing and keeping visible. All of it is backed by a 100% money-back guarantee with no conditions. You can listen as many times as you want before deciding. If you do not feel a difference, you receive a full refund. You risk nothing. I do need to tell you one more thing, because it is important. There are imitation sites that have begun using the name Genius Song. They are not the same product. They do not contain the actual brain entrainment technology that Dr. Lake developed and that the research supports. They are ordinary audio files with no measurable effect. The only way to know you are receiving the genuine technology with the full bonuses and the money-back guarantee is through the link in the description and the pinned comment of this message. Please do not search for it elsewhere. If this is something you feel called to explore, the link is waiting for you. And I say if with full intention. This is only for those who feel the pull. Only for those who listen to what I just shared and something inside them says, yes, that is real, I want that. If that is not you today, that is completely right. What I am about to show you in the second part of this conversation has the same value with or without any tool. Because the truth I need to give you now, the truth underneath everything we have talked about, is the one that changes how you understand all of it. The decline effect is real, the morning window is real, the interference is real. But what is being declined, what has been quietly dimming inside you since you were 7 years old, is something you were never meant to lose permanently. And there is a revelation waiting that I believe will shift something in you that has been waiting to be shifted for a very long time. Stay with me, chosen one. What comes next is the part this whole morning has been building toward. There is something I need to tell you now that changes the shape of everything we have talked about so far. Everything I shared with you about the decline effect, the gamma frequency dimming, the morning window being interrupted, the signal getting cut before it can fully land, all of that is true. And if you are sitting with the weight of that truth right now, I understand. It can feel like a kind of grief, like something was taken from you without your knowledge or consent. But here is what the research also shows. And this is the part that the clinical literature buries in footnotes, while the rest of the finding gets all the attention. The people who show the strongest response to gamma restoration work, the ones who recover the most, the fastest, with the most measurable clarity, are not the people who lost the least. They are the people who were the most sensitive to begin with. The ones who felt the decline effect most acutely. The ones who noticed the absence of the signal because they were built to rely on it. You, chosen one. The same sensitivity that made the morning window feel so heavy when it was interrupted, that same sensitivity is the architecture of your restoration. You were not built like most people. You were built to receive. And what can be interrupted with greater intensity can be reopened with greater intensity too. This is not a consolation. This is a design specification. Think about the figures who carried this kind of heightened sensitivity throughout history. Think about Elijah, not at his lowest, not in the wilderness when he asked to die, but at his highest. Right after the fire came down from heaven, right after his greatest demonstration of power, that is when he collapsed. That is when the noise and the threat and the exhaustion hit him hardest, because the more tuned the instrument, the more every frequency lands, including the ones that hurt. Think about David. Between his anointing and his throne, he spent years in caves and wilderness, hunted, hidden, carrying a calling that nothing around him confirmed. He was not being abandoned. He was being formed. And the Psalms he wrote in that season, the ones that have endured for thousands of years and still feel like they were written about your specific life, came from a man who was highly attuned enough to feel the absence of God's presence as acutely as he felt its fullness. That is not weakness. That is the design of a vessel built to carry something significant. Chosen one, you feel things deeply. You notice what others miss. You carry questions that other people seem to walk past without a second thought. You have always known, somewhere underneath the noise and the exhaustion and the daily demands, that you were built for something more than the reactive life you keep finding yourself inside. That knowing is not your ego. That knowing is your design speaking. And it is pointing towards something I need you to receive now. There is an obstacle that stands between you and full access to this morning window, and it is not the phone. The phone is just the symptom. The obstacle is something deeper, and when I name it, I want you to receive it with compassion rather than judgment, because this obstacle did not form because you are broken. It formed because you are human. The obstacle is control. Every morning, in the seconds after you wake up, before the clarity has fully arrived, and before the direction of the day is established, You are in a moment of uncertainty, and uncertainty is uncomfortable. And when uncertainty is uncomfortable, the human response, the entirely understandable, deeply wired response, is to reach for something that feels like control. The phone gives you that feeling. Instantly, check the messages, know the news, see what is waiting, reduce the uncertainty, take control of the information before it arrives uninvited. This is not a character flaw. This is not a spiritual failure. This is a nervous system trying to protect you the only way it knows how. But here is the cost. Control closes the channel. The moment you reach for the phone to reduce uncertainty, the morning window, the one that was just beginning to open, the gamma state that was just starting to surface, receives a signal that says, "Not now, not needed," and it retreats. Surrender opens the channel. Not surrender in the passive sense, not giving up or checking out. Surrender in the ancient sense, the sense that Elijah understood when he stopped running and sat under the tree and said, "I have done enough. Let what needs to come, come." That surrender. The kind that says, "I do not need to control what this morning brings. I am open to what this morning brings." That is the shift. And it is not a discipline, it is a decision. A decision you can make right now, in this moment, without moving from where you are. Just let the uncertainty of this morning be okay. Let the unresolved things be unresolved for a few more minutes. Let the channel stay open. You are ready now for what I have been building towards since the beginning of this message. The revelation that makes everything else make sense. Are you ready? Here it is. Every morning of your life, there has been a scheduled appointment. Not a metaphor, not a spiritual aspiration. An actual, real, daily appointment that was placed into the architecture of your morning before you were born and has been kept on the other side every single day of your life, waiting for you, whether you showed up or not. The ancient traditions had a word for this kind of time. Not chronos, the Greek word for ordinary clock time, the time that moves forward in minutes and hours. Kairos, appointed time. The kind of time where a specific intersection is meant to occur between a specific person and a specific moment. And when that intersection happens, something changes that cannot be unchanged. Every morning has both kinds of time in it. The chronological morning, Tuesday, whatever date, alarm at 6:45, coffee, commute. That morning runs, whether you engage with it or not. But inside that morning, there is also Kairos time, an appointed window, a moment that was designed for you to receive something specific: guidance, clarity, direction, the quiet knowing that settles what the noise can never settle. That window is not symbolic, it is the gamma window, the 3 to 7 minutes after waking, when your brain is at its most open, most receptive, most ready to receive the signal that has been trying to reach you. This is not a coincidence, this is design. The same design that built your sensitivity, the same design that wired your brain for reception, the same design that placed a daily appointment into the architecture of every single morning of your life. And now I need to bring together everything I have shared with you today, because it all connects to this. The decline effect is real. Beginning around age 7, the gamma frequency, the brainwave state that makes gamma reception possible, begins to dim. The morning appointment was always scheduled, but the receiver was being slowly detuned, not broken, not permanently damaged, detuned. The morning phone, the scroll, the notification, the news is not the cause of the problem. It is the daily mechanism that uses an already weakened receiver and ensures the appointment is missed again today. Before the signal can land, the channel is filled with something else. And the weight you carry, the aching incompletion at the end of most days, the sense that connection keeps slipping before it can settle, the exhaustion of a life spent mostly reactive that is not a character problem. That is the feeling of a highly designed receiver that has been missing its daily appointments for years and knows, somewhere very deep, that it was built for more than this. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are not late to your calling. You have not missed the window permanently. You have not been passed over or forgotten or assigned to a lesser version of the life you were supposed to live. You are simply someone who was never told what the morning was, who was never shown what you were holding, who was handed a phone and pointed toward the noise before anyone explained what was on the other side of the quiet. And here is what I know, and I say this with the humility of someone who cannot tell you exactly what will shift or exactly when, because that is not mine to declare. Here is what I know from the pattern I have seen across every chosen one who has finally understood this. When you begin to keep the appointment begins to speak. Not in thunder, not in dramatic revelation, in the way that stillness speaks, in the way that a thought arrives already formed and you know it is not from you, in the way that a door you did not know existed suddenly becomes visible, in the way that synchronicities, the encounters, the timing, the unexpected alignments begin to accumulate in a way that you cannot explain away. This is not a promise of what your life will look like in 6 months. I cannot make that promise, and I would not try. But I can tell you this, the God who scheduled your morning appointments did not schedule them to be missed. The universe that built your receiving capacity did not build it for decoration. And the signal that has been trying to reach you through every quiet moment, you almost caught it. Every morning you felt something before the noise arrived. That signal has not given up. The second humility I want to offer you is this. If everything I have said today lands as interesting information, but not as personal truth, if something here does not connect for you, let it go lightly. I cannot know exactly what is being prepared in your specific life. Only you and the source that scheduled your appointments know that. But if you are sitting right now in a quiet certainty, if something in you went very still during this message, and you know the stillness is not just absence of thought, but the presence of recognition, then I want you to receive that as confirmation, as the appointment being kept. The pioneer in you goes first, into the quiet of every morning, before the world has any idea what you are receiving. The voice in you carries what it receives, and you cannot speak what you have not been given. The light bearer in you has been waiting for this, and the light that is meant to come through you requires an open channel and a quiet morning to enter. This is who you are, not who you are becoming, who you are. And today, this morning, you kept an appointment that was scheduled for exactly this moment. Now, let us receive everything that came with it. Take one breath, just one. Let it come in slowly and leave slowly. And as it does, let this moment settle into a place that is deeper than thought. Because what we are about to do together is not a ritual. It is a completion. The morning appointment, honored. The channel, open. The chosen one, present. We begin with gratitude. Something brought you here this morning before the world arrived. Something arranged this intersection, and whatever name you hold for that something, God, the universe, the source, the one who sees that presence, did not leave when the mornings got heavy. It was not absent during the years the signal was dimmed. It kept scheduling the appointments even when they went uncollected. And today, one was collected. We are grateful for that. We are grateful for the arrangement, for the timing, for the specific thread of events that led your eyes to this message in this window today. That is not small, that is extraordinary, and we receive it with open hands. Now, acknowledgement. The source sees every morning you woke up heavy and did not know why. Every day, you handed the first moments of your clarity to the noise before you had a single thought of your own. Every time you felt the signal beginning and then lost it before it could land. Every night you went to sleep with that quiet ache of incompletion. Every one of those mornings is seen, not judged, seen. The faithfulness you carried through seasons when nothing outside you confirmed what inside you knew, that faithfulness is seen. You have not been invisible. You have been watched over and known in ways that the noise of your daily life made it very hard to feel. But feeling it and being true were never the same thing. You have been known, fully, all along. Now we release. Every morning lost to autopilot, release. Every day spent in reaction when you were built for reception, release. Every belief that the heavy mornings meant something was wrong with you, release. Every hour of comparison to people whose mornings seemed easier, whose direction seemed clearer, whose channel seemed less interrupted, release. Every old ceiling that said the gamma in you was gone for good, release. Every story that said you had to earn the morning, work for the quiet, discipline your way into the reception you were always designed for, release. Every layer of the noise that settled onto the frequency over years and decades of unintended signal block, release. Every morning you almost had it and lost it, sealed, forgiven, and released. Every appointment you missed, grace over it and release. Now we activate. We activate the seer in you, the one who was always going to see what others could not, who was always wired for the frequencies that most people simply cannot access. Come fully online. We activate the light bearer who has been waiting at a channel that was not quite open enough to carry what was meant to come through. The channel is open now. We activate the morning appointment today's and everyone that follows. We call forward every right connection, every piece of guidance, every moment of clarity that was scheduled and waiting. We open what was being held closed by the noise and the interruption and the years of dimming. We call it forward now. We activate the provision that is tied to the calling, the resources and the relationships and the doors that cannot open until the chosen one standing in front of them knows who they are. We call it forward, aligned to purpose, aligned to the morning practice of a chosen one who now knows what they are holding. Now protection. We cover what is being activated from the pull of old habit. The phone will light up tomorrow morning. The notification will arrive. The pull toward control will be there. We cover the intention being set today from that pull. We guard what is being rebuilt from premature exposure to the noise before it has time to take root. What has been opened here today, let nothing close it again through distraction or forgetting. The morning appointment is protected, the channel is protected, the restoration is protected, and now we declare, I am a chosen one who receives before I react. I am an open channel in the morning hours. I am present at every divine appointment that was made for me. I carry what I have been given, and I have been given much. I am the seer who sees, the light bearer who shines, the pioneer who goes first into the quiet and finds it is not empty but full. I am not behind. I am not forgotten. I am not a diminished version of what I was supposed to be. I am here, awake, aligned, and I am keeping this appointment. It is done. It is sealed. We receive it, and so it is. Amen. Take a breath. Let it settle. What just happened in you does not need to be analyzed right now. It just needs to be received. If something moved in you during this morning together, if something landed that you have been carrying for a while and finally has words, I want you to type one word in the comments right now. The word is morning. Just that. It is a way of marking this appointment, of saying, I was here, I kept it, and I want others who are walking the same path to know they are not alone. If the 7-minute tool I shared with you today is something you felt called toward, if something in you said yes when I described what Dr. Lake spent 34 years building, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. $39, 4 bonuses, full money back guarantee. And remember, only through that specific link, not anywhere else. And if there is someone in your life who woke up heavy this morning, someone who is chasing their calling through the noise and the exhaustion and the daily signal block, send this to them. You may be the divine appointment they were supposed to keep today. The pioneer goes first so that others can follow. That is what you are. That is what you have always been. Go well, chosen one. The morning is yours.